listening to Set It on Fire, the one place where CEOs like you and me get to be together, where we get to figure out how do we set the damn thing ablaze. Your business, your life, your money, team, company culture, and all of the things that allow us to build bigger, better, stronger. I'm so stupidly excited that you're here because every week I'm going to pull one of my dope-ass friends from around the world or someone who I admire to teach us how did they do it. The reality is that if they were able to do it, you can do it too. And you're more capable right now with what you have than you think. So let the Shadow CEO step in and help you get to your next level. Oh, I'm so excited. Are you ready? Cash flow is everything. Cash flow is everything. People say cash flow is king. I just want you to know that cash flow is the blood in your business, and without it, you will die. I know that sounded so harsh and dark. I know. But it's important because, man, you don't manage your cash flow. Now, when I say you don't manage your cash flow, it doesn't mean that you're sitting looking at all the reports. But what it does mean is that you're the person going, do we have enough money to pay for that? And you're also going, oh my gosh, we got to get more cash in here pronto. So I'm going to use this time to talk through cash flow. Maybe this is step one or two of two. I don't know, but it's the different types of revenue that you need to have in your business to make sure that your cash flow is flowing. There are three different types of revenue that you've got to have, and three different types of revenue that allow for you to sort out what ways your company will make money. If you're missing one of these ways, it's instant for you to go, okay, great, this is where we need to spend our time. And if you're trying to figure out how to do things in your company, I'm going to show you how in my world, where I pull dollars from, for the most part, to make the things happen. And I've been doing this for over a decade. Here we go. Very first type of revenue that you're probably doing right now, it's called active revenue. It's called active dollars. This is where your company is actively selling something, they do something, and then they get money in return, whether it's a low ticketed item or a high dollar item. So in the chimney business, and one of my clients, they go out into people's homes and into commercial buildings. They physically sweep the chimney and they do inspections. They get paid $100, $200, $500 for the thing. Money is exchanged. The act is done. We're finished. But then we say to ourselves, okay, great. Well, what other things can I do here? Well, maybe we can repair the crack in the chimney. We can help replace the roof. We can do a little bit of construction outside. And so, yes, we've upsold. We have more money, but that's still active revenue. Now, active revenue is what I use, or what I would suggest using, to pay for the employees. So this is where I'm going to use to pay for employees, for salaries, salary increases, contractors, vendors, etc. I want team, and I'm going to have team. If I'm looking at a P&L, I'm going to have team to come out of my active revenue. So then how the hell do we pay for the building? There's another part of revenue, or the second place, and this is the one that's, I feel, most often overlooked when I look in businesses, because everybody jumps from active revenue to passive revenue. And they're like, oh, I know, we're going to put this thing in place and we're going to passively start making money and this, that. I don't think that any revenue is passive, and that's a different conversation for a different time. But I am going to tell you that the second way to just set everything off on fire, I feel like this is how you really set off your cash flow on fire, by implementing leverage dollars. Leverage revenue is probably the number one way in which you can sit down and have a clear way to pay for your overhead. Now, I'm not saying that team members and employees, depending on your model, are not overhead, but for me, my fixed costs, my super fixed costs, might be my lease or my mortgage on the building. It might be tools. We use over 40 tools in this place, and some of them cost me over $1,000 a month. It could be a variety of things. All I know is that whatever my fixed costs are, instead of looking for a fixed dollar or looking for passive income, I want leverage dollars to pay that. What does leverage dollars mean? Leverage dollars mean I am selling once to many. I have multiple people paying at one time. One of those two avenues. I'm going to leverage volume in some way, shape, form, figure in order to produce a certain amount of money. And I love to hear this word, or I really like to hear this word, reoccurring revenue. So recurring revenue is the thing that's like, it's the most easiest to just put in place. It's most easiest and it's most overlooked because it does take some time. Leverage income could be nothing. It could be something as simple as 100 people paying your company $39.99 a month, or 100 people who come to an event and have you teach them how to speak, or your company teaches them how to replace the tires in their car, versus you teaching or you having your team teach one at a time. This is the most overlooked and the easiest to execute because you do all of the work for a one time execution and you have rewards and benefits that pay you forever. It is delicious and I love it. Reoccurring revenue is a must in every company. Reoccurring revenue is a must. Let me repeat this. Reoccurring revenue is a must. Reoccurring revenue for a finance company or a bank comes in bank fees, bank charges, it comes from interest rates, all types of things like that. Penalties. These reoccurring revenues is what they can depend on month after month after month. Now, for me, reoccurring revenue could be something that we are distributing or fulfilling in person, something that we are distributing or fulfilling online. Either way, it doesn't matter. Examples in the education industry are programs, coach group delivered programs or education, workshops, classes, events, intensives, work, etc. Other places are subscriptions or membership. That is the similar idea. So Netflix is not that $29.99 that people are paying, or 19. I don't know. I haven't paid for Netflix in a long time. I steal it from my kids. No, I'm just kidding. The $29.99 that I'm going to pay for Netflix is leveraged income. Behind the scenes, there is a lot of things happening. Everyone benefits from getting access to this mega platform where you and I can watch TV and shows and all types of cool things for a fraction of the dollar. Because if they were just selling it to once, if they did all of that work just to sell to one person, there's no way I could pay for it. But because they're selling it to multiple people, I get the opportunity to buy in at my $29.99. And I feel like I'm paying not much for it, but the truth is that there are millions and millions of dollars and hours and buttons being pushed and things happening to make all of Netflix happen, which means it's not passive income for them at all. They have to actively do something. But instead of having a model where they're like, you know what, we're going to sell to all these people over here for $20 million a month, they're like, let's sell to a lot of people at $29 a month to make the millions of dollars we need to pay for all the stuff and all the buttons we be pushing over here. You see how that works? Your business has the opportunity to do the same thing. They chose to have a product at $29.99. I don't have a company today that I would feel excited about $29.99 just yet. But for me, my price points might be $100, $200. We have one right now that's $400 a month. We have had others that are $2,000, $3,000 a month. Actually, we have some right now. This way of thinking about how you stagger money and how you improve your cash flow, it's that leverage dollar. What it does is it stabilizes your operational expenses. So remember, active income, employees, and team. Reoccurring revenue stabilizes your operational expenses, where you get to really, really hang out with your fixed costs. The reason why I love tying active income to team and employee, because it allows me to tie the person and the thing that we're doing to what we're actively either doing or winning at in the world. Make sense? Third, so last but definitely not least, is passive income. Passive income is the name of the game. I'm going to call it something slightly different because I don't really think anything is passive. There is nothing that we sell or a dollar that we make money in that I don't have to actively do something in order to get a return. So yes, I might do little, but it's still active. I got to move. I got to think. I got to push a button. I got to renew something. Something has to happen. This is vital and important. How could you do that today? So on every company has something called intellectual property. Intellectual property has made me millions of dollars in the last 10 years, period. And I need to emphasize that because intellectual property has allowed me to build other things, do other things, gamble on myself in other ways, entertain other ideas, spend time in other industries, like in the media industry. I would have never thought to myself that I'd be in the production industry, never in a million years. But here I am. What made it possible and what allowed us to distribute that product is my intellectual property. Your company or you are sitting on intellectual property right now and you're not selling it. You're not making money from it. You don't have it loaded anywhere and no one can access it but in a talk or a lecture or something like that. Bah humbug. No. If you really want to set something on fire, like in order to really set your business on fire and your life, you need these last two pieces because chances are you've mastered the first one. Chances are you are running the game when it comes to active income. And I'm happy for you. And I love that. And I think it's great. But you can't just do that. And you can't pay for all the things with that. This, this last way of making money, building digital products, digital assets, your margins are a lot higher. So on my P&L, I can look at the margin of that item and not necessarily float cash, but I can float cash to loss leader departments, areas in which I have a high cost because of the type of team that I have there. And it really makes me stronger as a company as I approach different projects. But here's what I do with this last area. This last area, I like to try my best. And even, for me, like in the last year, there have been times where I just haven't been able to do it because I haven't had the mental capacity. I have been out sick, but I like to use this last area to pay for fun, simply to pay for fun, whatever, and fun and little things. And it's like, well, what's fun? Fun is being able to order pizza sometimes for everybody. Fun is being able to plan a quick trip somewhere or to take everybody out or to go to lunch. Fun is just hanging out, me just having the dollars and time, even sometimes when cash flow is tight or we didn't get the check that was supposed to deposit or the customer or clients did ... Like this last area is a side pocket that you can look at and set it and forget it. One time, like one of my favorite ways for a company for that we do is we're affiliates and we spend a lot of time in affiliates. And as a matter of fact, in my company, in my world, affiliating is where I'll be doubling down over the next couple of months. Because one day, not because, but let me tell you, one day I remember, I don't know where I was or what I was doing. But one day I remember, like sometimes you just do like checks and balances on logins that you have and passwords and looking for accounts and things like that. One Saturday, I was fooling around, logging into stuff, crossing off on a list, just kind of cleaning up my back end and my world. And I logged into an account and I remember going, oh, I have an account over here. Okay, well, let me do, forgot the password, blah, blah, blah. And in my mind, I was like, we don't have an account over here. But lo and behold, when it was like, oh, we just sent you a thing to your email. And I was like, okay, logged into this account. And I was like, holy shit, what? I saw that we had almost $20,000 just sitting there in an account. And I remember thinking to myself, where did all this money come from? And I mean, not necessarily whether 20,000 may not make or break you. But my point is that this money had been sitting here. I had no idea, not even paying attention to it. And as I doubled back real quick to try to figure how the hell the money got in there, it's simply nothing more than affiliate commissions that were being paid over and over again. I remember thinking to myself, man, it's crazy because the truth is this is no effort, not really paying attention to it in this way. And this happens to be just from one or two affiliate accounts. We have maybe 10 or 20 companies that we support. But in these one or two, I was like, man, from them, it could have been, if it was 20,000, it could have been 100,000 sitting in there. Get paid. So these three areas are important for every business, but they're important to maintain healthy cash flow. You cannot do it with active income alone because active income means you always have to look for labor for the cash to fill the gaps. And if you're constantly in a business, a service-based business specifically, where you're looking for cash to fill the gaps and you're going to be looking for cash to save you and you're going to drown because people may not work, a drama may happen, someone gets sick, you don't like this person anymore, you're cussing, there are all types of things that can happen. And you don't want to leave the entire model up to that. It's actually not fair to your team because it puts a lot of pressure on them to always produce. And when you're looking to improve cash flow in general, instead of looking at what can we do more of, you want to, one, make sure you're maximized over here in place one. Two, you want to make sure you put some type of leverage income in place. If you're like, Tiffany, I don't know how to do that, then let me help you. We can help you, and we can probably help you pretty fast. And then three, it's not quite passive, but in this passively-ish thinking area, which I love for affiliates, you absolutely could be adding another $20,000 to $100,000 a month, not even think twice about it. And it is the place, like for me this year, it is where I'm focusing my time. Why? Because I have a trip that I have in my head that I want to take our whole team on, and it's going to cost me a lot of cash to do that. That's it. So the three different types of revenue, you absolutely are in control of your cash flow. I'll get into cash flow tactics and antics in the next episode, but I want to make sure that you double down and do this checklist. If we're going to really set this business on fire and we're going to have ridiculously hot, flaming hot cash, you got to do it by putting these in place. And you can create that checklist now for yourself and ask yourself, do I have these in place? And if not, which one do I need to get started in now?
Wasn't that ridiculous?
Isn't it wild to think that that person is made up of the same thing that you and I are? Which means that you are just as capable of setting your business, your life on fire right now. But you know what it starts with? Action. And you know when that action starts? Now, this very week. Here's what I know. Somewhere inside of you is something you have not done, something that you know you need to do, and a place that you need to dive in deeper. I ask only that you do it right now. And if you're like, Tiffany, I don't know what to do, I need a little help, that's okay. You're going to do one of these three things next. Either one, you're filling out an application so that you and I can figure out how do we work together. Two, if you're like, Tiffany, I just got a quick question for that amazing guest you have on, chances are I've got their cell phone number in my phone. And if you leave me a question or a comment somewhere, I promise you I will find it. And more importantly, I'll get that question answered for you and hit reply. Third, if nothing else, you are saying to yourself, I'm so excited, and you're pressing save and subscribing to make sure that you are with us again.